Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 519. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Yeah, this week on the show, we're going to be talking about The Substance, which comes out on VOD this week. We're also going to be talking about some we're watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters and on VOD and on Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we can just hop straight into our review. We're talking about The Substance. This is written and directed by Coralie Farge. Stars Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid. I have a synopsis here. A fading celebrity takes a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. Kevin, we'll start with you for your initial impressions of The Substance.
The Substance. A lot of talk about this movie this year, seems like. Everybody's talking about The Substance.
Yeah, it's got a decent amount of buzz around it. A little body horror. I feel like we haven't had too many body horrors this year.
And I would say, I'll start there with the body horror aspects of this. Early on, like, it's not out and out gross, but it was also stuff that I just couldn't watch. I just don't like stitching. It's just stitching and skin is gross. It's just so gross.
You know what?
Can't handle it.
I agree with you. The thing that bothers me with stitches, anytime I see stitches, it's not necessarily like the thread, like it's not like the wound itself. It's the fact that there's the individual pieces of thread that are sticking out from each stitch. That's what grosses me out with stitches. Like in this movie, it's rough in this movie, especially because of the size of the wound and everything. But like, and like you have the thread sticking out. It was a little bit less intense for me because of the thread being so thick.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, I think
they're like shoelaces.
Yeah, like the fact, like whenever I see stitches that are like real stitches that are the super thin ones, they bother me more for some reason.
I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
Well, back to The Substance. I will say that I was a bit worried. Like, it starts off relatively strong with the setup and everything about, the substance, that she takes the substance and everything that's happening. But man, the early stages of this are just really repetitive and just pretty thin.
What it does is it absolutely hammers in the sort of image beauty centric themes of this movie, where Demi Moore she is this famous aerobics instructor person, and she has a TV show, and I think she turns 50 in the movie, and she's basically aging out, and she absolutely cannot handle this. And so when she does, and I think this is what you're referring to, but when she first takes the substance and has the younger version of herself, at that point, it's just like music video, like DNA type stuff, like just close-ups of like gyrating butts, and like it's just lots of montages of her just being young and sexy.
Yeah, which is that was another part of this movie that kind of confused me a little bit. Like the way that a lot of this is shot, I'm just like, I don't even think like guys make movies like this.
It's egregious.
It
but
is.
I mean,
over the top.
Well, the thing is, this movie is clearly designed to be completely over the top and just overflowing with like egregious amounts of sex. And like, I get that. Like, I understand the point, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that it was still like too frequent. Like it was too much. It was so much to the point that it almost felt like filler.
And I think this is the biggest problem that I have with this movie, is that sporadically throughout it, it's, it is over the top, and you're like, okay, this is kind of like a B movie. But the pacing makes me think that it's trying not to be a B movie, if that makes sense. Like the pacing at times, it seems at odds with the rest of the movie, because the build up and the reiteration of the same aspects just over and over and over again until you probably get to like the last like 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, like, god damn, the someone needs to edit this thing down, because it's like, I get it, we get it, I understand the point that you're making, you've already made it like 19 times, we get it.
Yes, I agree with you there. This is a movie that's almost 2.5 hours long, so it is. I think it definitely could have been slimmed down, and the point would still be there very very clearly, and like where it's going too. So it's not like you need to spend a lot of time. So basically, I'm not going to give any spoilers away here or anything, and maybe a spoiler discussion will be necessary at the end, but like the way that it works is you can only stay in each body for a week. So you basically have to alternate between your young version and then your current version. And it seems very clear that this character has no self-control whatsoever, and she's so obsessed with her beauty and looking young and everything that she's not gonna follow these rules.
No,
so you knew that that's the way it was gonna go.
Yeah, and I feel like I maybe could have used a little bit more of that, and it sped that up a little bit more nuance to how all of this works, because it was just really the same thing over and over again, where it's
right,
she doesn't want to do it every 7 days, and it just progressively gets worse, and it's like, okay, but how about some other things? What about some other aspects? Like, I get that to a certain extent she doesn't really care about herself too much, because one of the things that bothered me, like, right, or maybe even like the second time that they switch or whatever, it's just like, the one that's out, you can't make like a bed or something?
That was
like, take care of yourself.
That was one of the funniest things, because I watched this with my wife and she was like, is she just gonna leave her in the bathroom every time? Just leave them laying in the bathroom.
And she, like, it's a tap, like, get her an actual pillow.
Yeah.
Some slippers. Something,
it's kind of funny because at one point she moves her to the living room that's at least carpeted, but then you're like, okay, but then you realize that it's only temporary and it's because she's making that hidden room. And you're just like, oh, all right. So we go from being on the bathroom floor to being like on a concrete floor or something.
And also just like the comfortable positions.
Oh yeah.
Like the body would just collapse, and it's like, you're staying that way for
just
the next
whatever,
7 days.
Whatever position it lands in, that's it. You're staying there.
Like, how just your day-to-day dealings, like brushing your teeth and taking a shower, and it's just a collapsed body in the middle of your bathroom floor.
You have to walk around it. It's just it's right there in the middle
all the time.
Yeah, you would think that, when you do the procedure every week, that you would just lay in bed and do it,
Just
make it easier for yourself.
Just take care of yourself,
Well, I think as the movie progresses, it becomes abundantly clear that she does not really care about anything but looking good.
Yeah. It's just, that stuff plays into it.
Yeah. So we started off with some criticisms, and again, I agree with you on the pacing, and I think that it could have been truncated a bit and sped up for the most part.
Yeah.
But I got to say, I really enjoyed it overall. I thought that the body horror aspects of it were quite good. Lots of gross stuff in here that happens later on. So in that regard, it is a very effective body horror movie. I think that it does a pretty good job of critiquing body image standards and stuff like that. Nothing we haven't really seen before, but certainly it told in a unique and memorable way. This is a movie that I think will definitely stick with me for a while. Some of the stuff that happens, it's pretty bonkers. I enjoyed the cinematography quite a bit. If you've seen Coralie Farge's Revenge, this movie feels like a sort of an evolution of how that movie looked to me. You still have a lot of like vibrant colors in here with the pinks and the teals and stuff, and I really liked the just the look of all of the rooms and stuff, like the big red hallway in her office, and like just all the sets, like her apartment and everything. I thought looked great. Really liked there's lots of close-ups too, a lot of really uneasy close-ups in this movie. There's some like fisheye lenses being used. Liked all of it. Big fan of the cinematography in this. I was a big fan of the cinematography in Revenge too. So definitely liking this director's style. And then where it goes and what happens in the final act is completely batshit. And it just goes so far off the rails. You're just like, what the fuck? What is going on here? And I thought it was hilarious, and I loved where it goes. Because
I will say I 100% in agreement with you. And this is what saved it for me overall.
Mhm.
Because up until that point, like I didn't really see that necessarily happening, it going in that direction, or committing so fully to that direction.
I had a suspicion that one thing would happen where they explicitly say like you are one, and like you can't, like, you take the activator only once and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I can predict where I think that this is going, but what actually transpires at the end, you're like, okay, all right, this is absolutely insane.
And this is what ultimately saved it for me, because this is when, for me, it fully committed to B movie. Because it just went Brian's. What is it? Yuzna? Is that his last name?
Yeah.
It fully went society mode.
I was just
and I
gonna
was just
say,
like, hell yeah.
we went. What was it called? The shunting. We went full on.
It went full shunting, dude.
We went full shunting at the end of this, and holy crap,
shunt.
I loved it. I loved it. This is another one that you can put into that same category as like Malignant and Barbarian, where these. What was the other one that we just saw one like a few weeks ago that we sort of compared to that too, where the movie itself is a little bit self-serious for the most part, and then at the very end it just goes completely off the rails, and you're just like, okay, here we go.
What was that? I can't think of it.
It's so funny because I can't either.
But yeah, I loved every moment.
Was it Azrael or Cuckoo? It was probably Cuckoo, right?
Yeah, probably Cuckoo.
It's Cuckoo, because that's the one that gets crazy. Yeah. Love that. I love to see a modern movie just commit to the insanity like that. And it's great, because I feel like, with Cuckoo and Malignant and Barbarian, I feel like we've been seeing more of these movies that just embrace the wackiness of it.
Yeah, I find it heartening to see more people going like the B movie route, just over the top, ridiculous.
Yeah, and
it still doesn't, it still has pacing issues, but man, it makes up for it.
I can forgive those pacing issues. I think everything else was so strong here. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen Demi Moore in anything for quite a while, and I feel like she absolutely crushed this role. I mean, I think she was incredibly good in this, and it's not a role that you would at least I wouldn't expect her to be in, because of just how crazy this movie is. And yeah, she really gives it a 100%, I feel like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is a wild movie. If you're looking for something that is not your just bog standard ho hum horror movie, I think that this one is definitely worth a look. I think that there will be some surprises with this one. And absolutely can't wait to see what this director is up to next, because I loved Revenge. I thought Revenge was absolutely fantastic. And this one, while I don't have the same love for the substance, it's still one that really stuck with me and one that I really liked. So I can't wait to see what she's got coming down the pipe next. I hope she keeps playing with the genre, like I don't know, do something supernatural next, or like a haunted house film or something like that.
And I'm just hoping that it leans more towards the not self-serious. I
Yeah,
hope it leans more towards the shunting.
same.
Just, movies need more shunting. Okay.
If you remember Revenge, though, Revenge does a very similar thing where it's a pretty damn serious movie, at times even hard to watch until the end, when it just gets you start getting like the blood geysers in there.
Yeah.
All right, that's The Substance. Definitely an interesting one. One of the more unique movies I think I've seen this year. Kevin, what are you going to give it out of 10?
I give it a 7, 6.5,
I'm gonna
7.
I'm at a 7.5 on this one. Probably one of my top horror movies of the year, I would say. Yeah, probably.
I love that ending so much. And it just
It-
kept going and going.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's just so crazy. Boy. All right. Let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I think it might be my turn this week. We had off last week, so I'm not sure.
It's you. Go for it.
I'll start it off. I saw Daddy's Head. Talk about interesting titles. Daddy's Head is not necessarily a title that matches the movie. With a title like that, it sounds a little goofy, like almost like you're going to get something like The Substance, where it's like kind of bonkers. But that's not quite how things play out in this movie. It's directed by Benjamin Barfoot, and it is about a boy and his young stepmother who recently experience the loss of the boy's father and husband of the woman. And very shortly after his passing, the boy there's some strange stuff that starts to happen around the house. And the boy starts to see who he believes to be his dad coming back. But it turns out not his dad. There's a creature. There's a creature in the woods that is able to mimic the faces of other animals, or in this case, his dad.
Mhm.
And it's a pretty creepy. I mean, it's all sort of metaphor for grief and stuff. We've seen that a million times over at this point. But the thing that makes this worth a look is that it is actually effectively creepy. Like the creature effects, the scary moments in this are done very effectively. I also like the location of this. Like the husband guy was like an architect, so their house is like really cool. I mean, their house is really, really cool looking. And yeah, I recommend it. It is probably one of the more scarier movies that I've seen this year. In that creature is, yeah, it'll give you the heebie-jeebies, that's for sure. So, Daddy's Head, check it out. It's on Shudder, so give it a look.
Nice. I watched The Sect from
Okay.
1991. The Sect. Finally got around to checking this out since I liked the church so much.
Mm-hmm.
Another COV movie. So, I've been dying to watch The Sect. This is Kelly Curtis, which I did not know that Kelly Curtis was the sister of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
Didn't know that until the movie was over.
how about that?
No idea.
I didn't know either.
This is the type of movie. I love these types of movies so much. I just love horror movies that are also double as like, far-reaching conspiracy. Like this conspiracy is like this satanic cult that stretches across multiple continents. You know, they've been doing work for decades and decades, and then finally in Frankfurt, the school teacher, everything's coming together. They're finally going to hatch the plan and really kick things off. I mean, they've been killing people for decades, but now they're finally going to lock in and do the thing. And man, I just love this type of stuff because it's creepy as hell. Everything's interconnected. Like everything that you see is either going to show up again later in the movie and have significance. Just so many things happening. But there's also just some really creative imagery in this movie. Kelly Curtis having some of her dreams that has some wild imagery. You know, this elaborate sewer system that's somehow in the basement of her house that she doesn't really know about. This creepy old guy doing all these fucking chants and shit. And I want more of the Sect. Like more things in this world. Just wish there was more, but there's not. But what you get is good enough. I love the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, I saw this for the first time not too long ago, and I was a big fan of it also. I think I talked about it on the show. I'm not sure.
I just wish Michelle Soavi did more.
Yeah. All right, that's The Sect. Check that out. I saw Caddo Lake. This is directed by Logan George and Celine Held. It's a twisty little thriller. So basically, you have there's this lake town, this small town that's all everything that this town hinges on is in this lake. They use boats, travel around. It's very lake focused, and every few years there's always there's a big drought that happens, and during this time there's some weird occurrences that happen, and basically the story starts off in jumping back and forth between two characters played by Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon, and is it Eliza Scanlon? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that was correct. So you're jumping back and forth between these two characters, and then there's something that happens, and there's a bit of a time travel aspect to this movie. So I don't want to give too much away because I went into this completely cold in that I didn't see a trailer, I didn't read a synopsis, nothing, just went in cold. And I think I got more out of it because of that. So I don't want to give too much away, but this is produced by M. Night Shyamalan, so there's lots of twists and turns in here. A lot of the stuff I think a lot of people will be able to predict. However, it's got kind of a complex connection, kind of a complex web, if you will, that occurs here. But overall, I liked it. It was pretty entertaining. Caddo Lake is the name of it.
Caddo Lake.
It's on Hulu, by the way.
Hulu.
No, it's on Max. Incorrect. On Max.
Damn. God damn it.
Get them mixed up,
Understandable. All the other stuff that I watched are rewatches. Doing a lot of rewatches. And
nothing wrong with a little rewatch.
A little rewatch The Conjuring. I'm still on that movie.
I can't bring myself to rewatch that. I loved it when I saw it in theaters, but that's the first and last time I saw it. So I'm wondering if I went back and watched it now, if I would still have.
It would be interesting to see what you think, because me, when I saw it years after it came out, I was like, it's all right, and it was very much the same this time around, where I'm like, yeah, this is a good, it's good enough for entertainment on a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky season. You know what I mean? It does its job. Nothing more, nothing less. one thing that I did rewatch that I kind of got a little bit more out of, or at least reiterated something for me, was Sinister.
Man, I love this one.
Yeah, and I remember liking this and it being like pretty fucking creepy to me. And rewatching this, it's just so fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
It's just a really creepy, disturbing movie. And I kind of forgot about the ending, how like black it is
Mm. Hmm.
and just nihilistic and just awful. And yeah, I didn't remember that. So that was something else. Coming back to this, that I think I might actually appreciate Sinister a little bit more the second time around compared to the first.
Yeah, this movie's great. I like any horror movie that involves like an investigation, like a mystery. Love that.
Yeah, it's good investigation. Creepy shit going on.
Scott Derrickson's working on the Black Phone too, so hopefully that comes out.
I did like the Black Phone. That was a good movie too. I like that.
That one, I loved Black Phone, man. That one was hit all the right notes for me.
The only other thing, real quick, the David Gordon Green Halloween redid that as well. Kind of the same thing as The Conjuring, like for entertainment purposes on a Friday night during spooky season. It delivers. It gives you exactly what you want. I had fun, nothing more, nothing less. You know, it's just, and to me, it almost feels like this. It feels like it's separate from Halloween, which is not possible. But it just doesn't really feel like a Halloween movie to me. I don't know why. Like it truly is, obviously, but just it's so different, just in like every way.
I'll tell you, it doesn't feel as Halloween as the original Halloween. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the only thing that was kind of surprising about it is going back and watching this, having 2 and 3 in your back pocket now, like experiencing 2 and 3, and you're just like, wow, this trilogy just went downhill real fast.
I mean, there's a few other franchises that I could say that happened to, but this one was the thing about this one is that the sequels were pretty highly anticipated.
Yeah,
and they were such a letdown, especially the third one. Oh my god, what a fumble. Anyway, that's the 2018 Halloween. I saw Terrifier 2. Now we talked about this, I think it was last episode, maybe we talked about it when Terrifier 3 was coming out. And I was like, I don't really get it. Like there's a really large fan base for the Terrifier movie. And I had only seen the first one. You saw the first one. And both of us were like, what's the big fucking deal? Like it was just an average slasher movie to me. Like pretty forgettable. Like I wasn't even a big fan of the whole Art the Clown thing, really.
No. He's a terrible character. At least the first movie, the pacing is fucking terrible.
Well, let me tell you. After seeing the second one, I understand where that kind of groundswell of popularity came from. It's all from this one. Like, this one is such a different movie I mean, I don't want to say such a different movie. At the end of the day, it's still a slasher, but it is so much more over the top and like creative and more lore heavy. And there's so much more substance in this one compared to the first one. It's way better. This is, I'm not going to say that this is like an amazing movie or even a good movie, but it is certainly entertaining. The level of gore in this movie is on another plane of existence. Like there is so much horrific, bloody dismemberment and like just so much over the top craziness that happens in this movie. All practical. People getting lit on fire, and it's actually people in a fire suit. So like they're doing God's work here with the practical effects. This is also directed by Damien Leone. He's pretty much just going to be known as the Terrifier guy, I think, moving forward, because it looks like 2 more sequels have been greenlit. So he's just going to be the Terrifier guy, which, I probably is okay with him. Now, I haven't seen part 3 yet. I do plan on watching that this week. I think it's on VOD now. So I do want to check that out and see if it holds up to Terrifier 2. But I will say, yeah, Terrifier 2 is pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts, and it is a big step above the first one. It is 138 minutes long, though. So this is like a horror epic. There's a point in this movie where you think it's over because it seems like it's just the end, but then you realize there's 25 minutes left, and you're just like, what? What can they possibly do at this point? So it is, it's a bit lengthy. It's an epic, but still lots of fun. And I recommend it only if you're okay with insane amounts of gore. If lots of bloody gore bothers you, maybe steer clear of this one. And that's it. That's all I'll mention.
No, thank you.
And they introduced this girl version of Art, and she is super creepy looking. She's not real. It's like in his head.
To me, it's just too. At least the first one, and I think the first one ruined it. Where it's too mean spirited.
Yeah, I can see that. There's almost a trauma vibe with these movies. I think it's certainly higher quality than most trauma stuff, but that kind of low budget B movie style where they mix in this like pitch black comedy into it. But yeah. All right. Take a look at what we have going on in theaters this week. Got Juror number 2.
Juror number 2.
Juror number 2, Nicholas Hoult. Got Here. That's the Zemeckis one with the creepily de-aged Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Not really into this one.
No, thank you.
And we also have A Real Pain, which I'm very interested in that one. It looks like a good one to me. That's the one with Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin.
Okay.
On VOD this week, we got Joker, Filet Adieu. I decided that I'm not even going to bother with it.
Yeah. I was already pretty much in that camp, and then when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, no, definitely sticking to that.
Yeah, same. Like when I heard that it was a musical, I was like, oh god, I hate that. Not that I hate, I don't really like musicals, but like I already know what they're going to be doing with that, with that concept, and I don't like it. And it just seems like it's going to be a boring waste of time. And then when it came out, like the trailers looked boring to me. And then when it came out, everybody says like it is like the dullest nothing burger of a movie.
Which is wild. Impressive, really.
Yeah, impressive on how you were able to take one of the most iconic villains in history
and
mess it up somehow.
It is, if you think about it, because it feels like you could do anything with Joker and people will flock to see it.
Yeah.
But somehow you did something that everyone hated.
Yeah. It's not the first time they've screwed up the Joker character. Now also, that's to say, I don't think they might not have screwed up the character. I think that they screwed up the movie as a whole. Whereas the Jared Leto Joker, I think they screwed up the character in that.
Yeah, I forgot that he was Joker.
Yep. Yes, he was. Correct. Well, it's good that you forgot about it. I wish I could forget about it.
There's so many things happening in the world, Yeah.
I
just can't keep up with all of them.
Yep. Also on VOD this week, we have The Substance. We got Am I Racist? That's the Matt Walsh one. I think that we've briefly discussed this before when it came out in theaters. You are racist, Matt.
Yeah,
we got Cellar Door. We got Aftermath. We got The Critic. Levels. Most of these look like they're kind of these action-y movies. The Falling Star. Amityville, Where the Echo Lives. Looks pretty bad. 72 Hours. Another action one. The Gutter. A bowling movie. Citizen Wiener. Is that about... Is that Zach Weiner. Okay. What is this? The House From? I guess it's a documentary about famous houses. Got
Yeah.
Summer of Violence. Stealing Jokes. Who's stealing jokes? A lot of people are out stealing jokes these days.
That's not good.
Mm-mm. We got Don Q and we got Dreama Team. All right. Let's see what we have on Netflix this week. We got Time Cut. A teenage girl travels back to the early 2000s to stop a vicious killer from murdering her sister. This is the exact same plot as that other one that came out.
I was gonna say, it sounds super familiar.
Totally Killer, I think, was the name of that.
Yeah.
The other one. It's like the exact same. We got Martha. And then we also have It's All Over, The Kiss That Changed Spanish Football. Okay.
What? Okay. I gotcha.
On Amazon this week, we have Freedom, we got Midas Man, and we got Megan Thee Stallion in Her Word. On Shudder this week, we got Doc of Chucky. This is from the same team that did that Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th documentary. The one that's like, the ones that are like,
long?
Yeah, the ones that are like 6 hours long.
How long is this one?
I don't know, but I'm hoping.
What's it called?
Doc of Chucky. I am sure that this is going to be a long one because I did watch the trailer and it looks like they cover everything, like all the movies, show, everything. So it's going to be a long one. And you know what? I'll watch it.
You're gonna watch it. Yeah, you're gonna watch all those minutes. I know you are.
I'll watch it while I'm doing work. It's going to be perfect.
It's gonna
Absolutely
be
perfect.
that Chucky Doc and you cleaning. House is gonna get so clean.
I love it. It's going to be great. On Blu-ray this week, we got Zodiac coming out in 4K from 2007. We got Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf from 1985, coming out in 4K. We got Trick or Treat coming out on Arrow. This is the 2007 one. What a great movie.
That is a good movie. Fan of that one.
Drag Me to Hell coming out in 4K. Addams Family Values. Shocker. Shocker's great too, man.
What?
Have you seen Shocker from 1989?
No. Add that to the list right now.
You gotta see
poster.
You gotta see Shocker. You'll love it.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Corpse Mania from 1981.
You say Corpse Mania?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Corpse Mania? Oh, okay. I did a necrophilia killer murdering the prostitutes at a brothel. Oh my goodness.
Kind of rough. Got Caligula from 1979 coming out in 4K. Got Dial D for Demons from 2000. You know, it's like I read the title and I'm like, Dial D for Demons. And then like my interest is peaked. And then I see 2000 when it came out. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Forget it. Trick or Treat, the 1986 one, is coming out in 4K. That's also fun. Very different, but fun nonetheless. The Mad Bomber from 1973. We got J Horror Rising. This is a box set from Arrow. Includes 7 Japanese horror films from 1999 to 2007. Those include where am I at? Shikoku, Isola, Multiple Personality Girl, Inugami, St. John's Wort, Carved, The Slit-Mouthed Woman, Persona, and The Curse. So, very solid lineup. I have not seen all of those, but the ones that I have seen were good, especially The Curse. Let's see what else we have here. I Used to Be Funny. We got Flesh Freaks from 2000, Blonde on a Bum Trip from 1968. You just don't, like titles like that. You don't really get those too much anymore.
No, none of that stuff happens anymore. Everything's just so boring.
Yeah. Yep. Disco Boy, Touch from 1997, Wheats from a Stranger from 1987. Now, see, you read that, you're like, Sweets from a Stranger.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what is this? Looks like an 80s slasher.
Yeah, you say that title, and I immediately just start typing it into the bar.
Yeah. But today, it's like the most boring titles.
Like this
that are
movie
like
would just be called The Stranger.
Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit.
What about Criterion's this week?
No Criterions.
Criterion's taking a week off. Okay.
They've been busy. They need a break.
Wheeling and dealing over there. Wheeling and dealing. Yep. Good people over there.
They're driving around that van all the time now.
Good people.
Gotta take it easy.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, consider giving us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.